Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours for the day of 14th of August, day of 1268. And there is some major updates, and the Frontline Changes today is focused almost entirely on the Komar Front. So first thing first, we have just one thing from the Toretsk front. So Shebenievka, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Shebenievka yesterday. The defense minister already congratulated the 103rd Motorized Rifle Regiment for the operation, and but our mapping have not caught up yet. There is no information or sources to show that the Russians have entirely captured this location yet, but we do have the claim. So previously we have the Ukrainian mapping updated the map to this point, and we have the Russian mapping updating the map like this. So the Russian forces should have advanced a bit more, definitely in Shebenievka. But as I mentioned before, most likely the Russians have already taken off this area here. So Ukrainians have redrawn further up north by the look of it. And as I mentioned before, this area here most likely is not under Russian control. But our principle is that we can only make changes when there is sources to prove it. So which is why the mapping is looking like this. So Ukrainians could be still having a line like this, but they are redrawing upward out of Shebenievka with the Russian forces moving in. So that's the advance here. This is just a claim, but most likely is going to be corroborated very, very soon by the Ukrainian mapping as well. So the next frontline change, we go all the way to the Komar Front. So there is one thing first, south of Kharkov in the north of Oleksievka. There is just one small frontline change. This is based on Ukrainian mapping. Very tiny change, not so important. After this frontline change, we jump to this big chunk of a problem. So this is Komar Front, and the latest update is this. So this one, what is this piece? So previously we have geolocation. I'm not sure. I haven't. Give me a second. I don't remember talking about this. Okay, I sorry now. Because I updated the link to the Frontline Changes report late. Then it got, yeah. Never mind. It's my own problem. So anyway, so there's actually one more frontline change first. Over at Lyman front, before I go to the Komar front, at Lyman, there is this very tiny frontline change. This is actually based on the geolocation of Russian forces over in this part of the forest. So it's just a very tiny change at Toretsk, with the Russian forces taking a bit more ground over in this sector. So I think the Ukrainians still hold the south of Toretsk as well as the surrounding forest. So most likely this is the current situation over in Lyman front. After this, we go back to the Komar front. Yeah, I got confused, and then I didn't put the thing in, and yeah, never mind, it's still my thing. So coming back to the big news. The big news, I did do a frontline. I did do a quick update about this. So Russian forces geolocated in multiple locations over in Iskra or Alexandrivka, Kletsove. So they were geolocated in multiple locations in the city, in the town, basically confirming that they have full control over the town. So as these are all the various places covering the entire town. So this is now confirmed, captured by the Russian forces, Alexandrivka, Kletsove, and this is also known as Iskra. And there's a split between Rebus mapping, the pro-Russian source mapping, and DPS mapping. So from DPS perspective, we believe that it comes from here down the road. This is where we mark the advance by the Russian forces down the highway, as the Ukrainians themselves has already alluded that the Russians have actually established a very strong control over this part of the tree line. So this is where we think the advance come from. because this attack should be already ongoing for some time. The Russian mapping, the pro-Russian sources claim that the advance is actually coming from Zeleny High. So this is the Russian mapping, the pro-Russian claim that the attack is actually coming down from Zeleny High, and so that is the difference between the mapping. And although I think in reality, all of these areas are all under Russian control, so it does not matter that much. So, but generally, this is the mapping for now. I will of course stick to my the Russians capturing all of this place. Of course, that will result in a very ridiculous mapping here. You can see these two, like thingy. Like this is a really weird mapping. But it's okay. It's okay. Some say that this is a shovel, So yeah, but the shovel is not broken, because the Ryba don't play ball. So anyway, that's the thing here. This is 7.47 square kilometers. This is 11.7 square kilometers. These are very big captures by the Russian forces. And this is not yet reflected on the Ukrainian mapping yet. They have not acknowledged this yet. Surprisingly, in their latest update, in the latest mapping. Some of this position, Russian forces in the latest geolocation. This came just before I wanted to press publish. Recording. Just about to record the video. This dropped, so I have to update this. So the Russian forces geolocated over here in Oleksandrov. And the Russian soldier is very relaxed, taking out his flag and then for the drone to capture. And as a result, this is now, that means the whole town is captured because of the relaxed nature of his the way how he behaved. And this means that the Russian forces advance in this area here. The Russian forces continue to move westward and capture Oleksandrov. So that's the A position, and the advance is at least 2 kilometers and probably 2.5 kilometers on average at least. So this is a very, very big advance by the Russian forces capturing Oleksandrov. And based on the Russian mapping, the Ryba actually mapped that this entire area here, this impossible salient, for the first time in their mapping, is all under Russian control. So the Russian claim now move all the way here. This is the Russian claim, and all of these areas here is now mapped as under Russian control. But this is a Russian claim. So on the Ukrainian mapping, this is still a gray zone. So as per our principle, it's going to be only updated on the Russian map, the pink map, and not updated on the blue map, which is the Ukrainian map. For the new viewers, I think some of you guys may have just found DPA lately. DPA's mapping, so this mapping is two maps. It's not one map. So the pink map is the Russian perspective of the situation. The blue map is the Ukrainian perspective of the situation. But both maps will be affected by geolocations. So that will affect both maps because because that's facts. So that's the advance in this area here. This closure of this 13.2 square kilometers is nothing surprising. This is already impossible salient because impossible salients are impossible. So I forgot to measure the distance advance in this sector here. If let's say the Russian source is correct, the advance is 5 kilometers. So all the way to the end of the town. From DPA's perspective, is at least 2.9, around almost 3 kilometers. So on the longer side is probably 4.8. So now you can see why I say that the Russians attack from this area here, because this is actually the nearer point. This is actually a more sensible place. It's a more frontal and a nearer point to advance from, rather than coming from a Zeleny High. But like I said, most likely the whole thing is all under Russian control anyway. So that's the advance there. After Oleksandrov, there's still one more over at Tarifka. So which is this one. So Ukrainian mapping have updated the map further south from all this drama at Tarifka in the west of Zeleny Pole. So this Tarifka. So Russian forces have captured this area here in the northwest of Zeleny Pole, totally securing Zeleny Pole now. And so that is the advance in this sector here. The advance is around 1.5 kilometers on average. So that is the advance by the Russian forces in this sector. So you can see the update is very heavy on Komar. Everything is Komar. So the Russians capturing Alexandrivka, Kletsove, Alexandrograd, and advance in Temerivka. So as expected, this area here, the Ukrainians are largely redrawing, and they still seems to be lingering around, despite the impossible situation. Maybe the command forced them to defend at all costs or something, but of course, the advance is really fast, So this 5 kilometers is very, very fast. So definitely did not happen over the day, and this also didn't happen over a day. But I think they just felt like it's time to drop the information. So let's do some calculation of the total area captured. As usual, the Ukrainians did not capture anything over the past 24 hours. Yesterday it was 11.55 square kilometers, lackluster. But now I think this today is going to cover up. 42.97 plus 0.15 plus 0.07. So it's 43.19 square kilometers. This is a huge capture. But we have to divide it. So 43.19 square kilometers. So but if we divide it, we add the 11.55, then divide by 2 is 27.37. I think the day before was like 17 square kilometers or something. So it averaged out to 20 square kilometers range plus. So we are still within the 20 square kilometers range. But of course, this is entirely only on the Komar front, almost entirely only on there. So we are still expecting more frontline changes. And then of course this area here, there's still a lot of salient that will be closed up. So the trending will likely continue. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today. And have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next update.